This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
And the time right now is 4:27 here. It's your Monday morning. Thanks for waking up early with us here at RTV6. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. It was a deadly weekend on the roads. 3 people were killed in a crash on I-465 that shut down the area around Keystone for much of the day yesterday.
Yeah, and you may have seen some of the traffic that was coming off the interstate there as they had that area blocked off. Now, it's really sad because we know it was a woman and 2 toddlers who were killed in this crash. We're also learning that the semi-driver, who police say was going too fast in this area, has been arrested. So we're learning more and more about this crash. We don't know the identities of the victims at this time, but of course we're going to keep you updated.
And unfortunately, those weren't the only fatalities on the roads. A number of other people killed elsewhere around central Indiana, so we will have those stories for you in just a bit. But we want to bring in Todd Clausen right now for a check at our weather. I understand we might see some rain here this week because of Hurricane Barry.
You know, we actually could use some rainfall. You know, you drive around, you see the grass, it's been dying all across the area. So it comes in mainly tomorrow and Wednesday. Today, there's the chance of a few spotty storms, but they're just like yesterday. They'll pop up here in the peak heating of the day. Some of you will see them. Most of you will not see these storms tomorrow. It's all about the heat and humidity again today, really. 74 still in Indianapolis. Super muggy out there still as you walk out the door. 71 in Kokomo, 72 in Muncie. We're up to about 91 today for your high temperature with those PM storm chances. Again, they're just some isolated thunderstorms throughout the day today, in between plenty of hazy sunshine. But tomorrow and Wednesday, they're not complete washouts, but it's going to be one of those days where you're dealing with a tropical system, right? So all of a sudden, it could be just this huge downpour, and then it moves on, and then it's still cloudy and just kind of off and on throughout the entire day.
Okay. Todd, thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, we are talking about small businesses and entrepreneurship here in our Hiring Hoosiers reports as we're leading up to Shark Tank tomorrow, coming here to Indianapolis. And I want to talk about a business that Amanda Starantino featured about a year ago or so, and now they're giving us an update.
Yes, and business is booming. She takes a trip to Circle City Kombucha. They had a small idea. They wanted their product to be on store shelves. Well, now they are having a large impact. So we're going to catch up with the guys there and see what they've been up to since she saw them last.
Yes, and we do want to talk about Shark Tank because that is coming to Indianapolis tomorrow to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We know the producers there from ABC are going to be wanting to hear your pitches. So if you have an idea, an invention, something that you created and you want them to see this and possibly get on the show, you just have to go to the Motor Speedway tomorrow morning. We're going to be out there live, and today our Aaron Lish is going to break down everything you need to know about where to park, how to get there, and what to do and how the day is going to go. So we'll have that plus news, weather, and traffic coming up right here on Good Morning Indiana.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 4:30, a massive crash on the interstate. 3 people, including 2 children, are dead. And now the driver who police say caused the devastation is in jail.
The red line is getting closer and closer, but there's still a lot of work to be done. What you need to watch out for as you navigate the downtown streets.
And it is almost time to swim with the sharks. What you need to know about making a pitch for your burgeoning business when Shark Tank comes to town. It is 4:30 on your Monday morning. Thanks for starting your week with us. I'm Meredith Barrick.
I'm Lauren Casey. Elena Martella is here with a look at traffic in just a moment. But we do want to kick off your work week with Todd Clausen and see what we can expect in the forecast. And we know we're keeping a close eye on Barry and how it's going to impact us this week.
Yeah, you know, it's all about 2 things here this week. The heat and humidity. We have that almost every day. And then, as you mentioned, the remnants of Hurricane Barry will be moving through the area as we get into the day tomorrow and also on Wednesday. So we have the potential here this week for some much needed rainfall. Today, this morning, as you walk out the door, it is all about the heat and the humidity. We're still in the 70s in all these locations with the exception of Greensburg, and there's a lot of humidity around there as well. 74 in Bloomington right now, 72 in Crawfordsville, 72 in Muncie. So we have partly cloudy skies this morning. For the most part today, it'll be partly cloudy with just these isolated storms that flare up during the course of the day. You know the drill. Here we're in the middle of summer now. You're used to it. You get these isolated downpours, a little bit of lightning, the storm moves on. You can carry on with your plans. Not the case case tomorrow. As Barry continues to lift to the north, we'll see numerous showers and storms off and on throughout the day tomorrow with those tropical-like downpours. So today, temperatures will climb quickly into the mid-80s by the noon hour with partly cloudy skies, low 90s this afternoon with those spotty storms that'll be building in. The time now is 4:31. And it's time for a first look at traffic on this Monday morning. Here's Elena.
All right, thank you, Todd. No major issues out on the roadways right now, but we have some projects that are underway, leaving parts of the interstate closed. Southbound I-65 between the South Split and 465 down to that south side closed. So to get around this, actually this closure is going to continue until July 22nd, so should add that as well. So to get around it, I-70 westbound down to I-465 eastbound, that'll get you where you need to go. And again, keep in mind this continues for another week. Let's take a look at this area right now. You can see NDOT crews are over there in those southbound lanes. The northbound lanes you're able to go, so everything should be smooth sailing if this is part of your northbound drive. Let's take a turn over to the south side even further. I-65 at I-465, and traffic's moving along again just fine in those northbound lanes. The good news for your morning drive today, those roads are dry.
Elena, thank you. A devastating crash on the northeast side over the weekend, taking the lives of 3 people. And now a truck driver is in jail because of that crash.
Police say the semi-driver caused the fiery collision on I-465, and he is now charged with reckless homicide. A woman and 2 toddlers were killed in the chain reaction crash. Witnesses told police a semi driven by Bruce Pollard was traveling at a high speed when it plowed into stopped traffic near the Keystone exit. The car with 3 people killed burst into flames. A total of 8 vehicles were involved. Pollard told investigators another car cut in front of him and sped away, but several hours after the crash, police took Pollard into custody.
The driver of the semi has been arrested on 3 preliminary charges of reckless homicide, as well as 5 counts of criminal recklessness causing injury. It means that there was enough evidence at the scene, and based on our investigation at this point, we felt like that driver was driving recklessly enough to warrant preliminary charges.
The eastbound lanes near the crash scene were closed for most of the day. Police have not yet released the names of the victims in the crash.
It is 4:33. If you drive along Meridian Street, Capitol Avenue, even College Avenue, you're gonna need to get used to seeing this, the orange cones and construction crews out there. And this week, you'll notice some changes to your commute. As our Nicole Griffin tells us, all of this comes as we get closer to the completion of the Indigo Red Line.
Driving down College Avenue is a smoother ride in some areas on the north side. That is because crews are starting to repave parts of College and Meridian Street for the Indigo Red Line bus rapid transit. Starting this week, drivers will start to notice the final lanes and pavement markings on the road as we get closer to the Red Line opening for service.
I think that's one of the things that Indianapolis needs is mass transit, more people using mass transit.
It's been a little disruptive a couple of mornings just having to go around College Avenue, but overall it hasn't been too much of an issue.
The Red Line will run 13 miles through Indianapolis, providing frequent transit between Broad Ripple and the University of Indianapolis. Starting Monday, crews will start to install medians along the route. That means drivers will only be able to make left turns at intersections with traffic signals. Crews will work north to south on College and then move over to Meridian as paving is completed.
This is summertime, so people expect that road construction is going to happen. So I think the best idea is probably just plan ahead, knowing that's going to impact your schedule and work around it.
This is the latest timeline from Indigo on the construction work. All major road work is expected to be done by July 31st. By mid-August, work on the Red Line stations will be complete, and the Red Line will open for service on September 1st.
30th and Meridian.
But before that happens, Indigo is urging drivers and pedestrians to watch videos to learn how to share the road with the new buses. Indigo says knowing what to expect before opening day is a priority, and changes in the roadway impact everyone. The videos show the lane markings, station locations, and turning movements that drivers need to start learning right now.
And that was our Nicole Griffin reporting there. Right now on the IndyChannel.com and the RTV6 app, we've created a map where you can click on the Indigo videos to find out more about each location.
This morning, police are still investigating a weekend shooting at an East Side gas station that sent 3 people to the hospital. It happened just before 11:30 Saturday night at the Mobil gas station at 42nd and Mithofer. Police say a car pulled into the lot and there was an altercation resulting in several gunshots exchanged. 2 18-year-old men and a 17-year-old were taken to the hospital with gunshot wounds. Police say they're looking for several shooters in this case, but so far they have not said what may have led to the gunfire.
We have no backstory or history as to why. At the end of the day, regardless of what the backstory is or the history, nothing as important as shooting up a gas station and cars and shooting 3 individuals over for something I'm pretty sure is going to be pretty stupid.
Investigators say they are tracking down witnesses and reviewing surveillance video from the gas station. If you have any information, you can leave an anonymous tip with Crime Stoppers at 317-262-TIPS.
Time right now is 4:37. Democracy 2020 now, and another candidate for the congressional seat Democrats hope to flip to their side will make her official run later today. Dee Thornton is expected to officially enter the race for the 5th District congressional seat. The district includes the north side of Indy, Hamilton County, Anderson, and also part of Kokomo. It's the seat being given up by Republican Congresswoman Susan Brooks, who decided not to seek re-election this year. Thornton is a former business executive who lost to Brooks in the 2018 general election. 2 other Democrats are already in the race, former state representative Christina Hale and Jennifer Christie, who ran briefly in last year's Democratic primary but dropped out before that election.
It is 4:37, and do you have your pitch ready? If so, you better polish it up because Shark Tank is here tomorrow. The producers of the ABC show will be hearing pitches at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and they could choose you to pitch your idea to the Sharks themselves on the show. The action starts bright and early at 6 a.m. tomorrow at IMS. That's when the gates open. And coming up next hour on Good Morning Indiana, our Aaron Lish will have a preview with everything you need to know about getting your shot with the Sharks.
Coming up, as immigration raids were supposed to be taking place, the president being blasted for what critics say was a racist attack on 4 members of Congress. Coming up after the break, reaction to what the president tweeted over the weekend.
It could be your last chance to see him as a professional athlete. A football star trying to make it in another sport pays a visit to Indy later today. Todd.
And Meredith, we will be dealing with decent weather here throughout the day today with just some spotty storm chances, but the remnants of Hurricane Barry to our south will impact central Indiana in the coming days. We'll talk all about it in your Storm Team 6 forecast. The time now is 4:39. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on RTV6.
Sponsored by Citizens Energy Group.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Time now is 4:42. Here's a look at I-465 at White River. You can see some lane restrictions and some of those lanes up there. Keep an eye on this area for you as we head into rush hour. Stay tuned. I'll have your latest traffic update coming up in the next few minutes.
Elena, thank you. This morning, President Trump is not backing down from comments telling 4 congresswomen of color to go back to where they came from. Democrats are firing back, accusing the president of using racist language.
The president's comments coming as ICE launched deportation raids that so far have only resulted in small-scale action. ABC's Mona Kosar-Abdi is in Washington with more.
This morning, new tweets from President Trump targeting congresswomen of color, still not naming names, but criticizing Democrats for defending the women who in an earlier tweet he told to go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came. The president not only evoking an old and widely established racist phrase, but failing to acknowledge that 3 of the 4 minority congresswomen the comments were directed at were born in the United States, the other a naturalized citizen. And now overnight, Trump tweeting in part, quote, their disgusting language and the many terrible things they say about the United States must not be allowed to go unchallenged.
A group of people that came from, I don't know where they came from.
Democrats have been quick to condemn the president's comments, calling it, quote, xenophobic and hate-filled.
I am freaking appalled that the president of the United States conducts himself in such a disgraceful and racist way.
All 4 women have been highly critical of Trump's immigration policies and the president's long-threatened deportation raids that launched Sunday.
They're going to take people out and they're going to bring them back to their countries.
The major operation to arrest and deport up to 2,000 undocumented immigrants sparked nationwide protests and instilled fear in migrant communities. But so far, immigration groups and local officials say they haven't seen it. New York's mayor tweeting, quote, "No confirmed ICE activity." ICE, however, confirms it's out there. And for the past week, it was actually House Speaker Nancy Pelosi who was feuding with the 4 Democratic congresswomen over her support for the border aid package. And it took the president's comments to unify the Democratic Party as Pelosi and others came to their defense. Mona Kosar Abdi, ABC News, Washington.
Time right now is 4:44. The governor of Tennessee is being criticized across the country for signing a proclamation honoring the founder of the Ku Klux Klan. He says that his hands were tied by Tennessee state law. Governor Bill Lee signed this proclamation honoring Nathan Bedford Forrest, the Confederate general and slave trader who helped start the KKK after the Civil War. The signing comes as in the middle of a long fight over Confederate statues in several states, including a bust of Forrest that's displayed in Tennessee's state capitol. Governor Lee says he had no choice. Tennessee state law says that the governor must sign the proclamation honoring Forrest and several other Confederate leaders every year.
A terrifying moment for a group of rafters in Pennsylvania. Just check out this video as this raft heads directly toward a waterfall, then flips over. 6 people tossed into the raging water. A park official says they were on a rented raft when they missed a turn and passed several signs warning them not to continue. By the time they heard other people yelling, warning them, it was too late. The river water was moving too fast. Luckily, all 6 were wearing life jackets and escaped with only cuts and bruises.
Yikes.
Just incredible there. It is 4:45 right now. Todd, you've got a check at our forecast.
And it's pretty quiet here this morning across central Indiana. That's the good news. But overall, this week is going to turn pretty active as we bring in the remnants of Hurricane Barry that made landfall over the weekend down there in Louisiana here into central Indiana. 74 degrees right now. The humidity is way up there. It's uncomfortable as you walk out the door this morning. And really, honestly, it's going to stay uncomfortable humidity-wise throughout the entire day today. Temperatures in the 60s and 70s all across central Indiana this morning. 70 in Crawfordsville, 70 in Richmond, 69 as you make your way into Greensburg as well as the Tipton area. So temperatures really don't differ much from north, south, east to west here this morning. We're all in this very warm and muggy air mass. So as we go throughout the course of the day today, we'll have the hazy sunshine and partly cloudy skies through the noon hour. Temperatures get up into the low 90s this afternoon, and then throughout the afternoon hours with the heat and with the humidity, once again we'll build in the isolated storms. Now yesterday afternoon and evening they were all to the north and northeast of Indianapolis. Didn't get any rain from Indy to the south, but that could change today as these isolated storms start to build into the area. And you see here on TrueCast as we go throughout the day, we're just fine through the 11 o'clock hour as we get into the peak heating of the day. Again, these pop-up thunderstorms, probably nothing severe today, but lightning obviously makes every thunderstorm dangerous, and you can also have just some very heavy rainfall and then they'll move on. Those are mainly the 2 threats that you'll deal with here throughout the day today. And then throughout the evening hours, we'll start to bring in some what we'll call more widespread or steadier rain as we get closer to midnight and then beyond as the remnants of Barry start to make their way into the area. So here's the satellite radar picture right now. You see just partly cloudy skies. We'll expand out, and you could see to our south towards St. Louis. This is the leading edge of some of that precipitation, but it's a pretty slow-moving system as it starts to lift to the north. The real heavy rainfall is down to the south, and this will weaken as it continues to make its way to the north, so it's probably not going to be that steady batch of rain that moves in, but you have to remember this was once a tropical system, so this could put down copious amounts of rainfall in isolated areas as it moves through. It's not going to take a whole lot to wring out some of that moisture into these heavy downpours throughout the day on Tuesday and even into Wednesday. This evening, a spot storm or 2 is possible. Temperatures will be in the 80s. It's warm and it's muggy with sunset this evening at 9:12. So tomorrow is most likely going to be a Storm Team 6 alert day for you with the consistent threat of showers and storms throughout the course of the day. It's not going to be raining every single minute of the entire day, but when it does rain, it's most likely going to come down quite heavy at times. You see a little bit of a break during the noon hour, and then more isolated downpours start to stroll in here throughout the afternoon and into the evening, and this is going to continue into Wednesday as well. Following Barry, it's going to bring in a whole lot of heat and humidity. Look at the heat wave as we get into the end of next week. I know it was hot over this weekend, but potentially starting on Thursday and going all the way through the weekend, the hottest and most humid air mass we've seen so far this summer is set to arrive in central Indiana. Elena.
All right, thank you, Todd. Here's a look at I-465 at Keystone Avenue up on the north side. You can see traffic's flowing along just fine right now for your drive. A little bit of a lane restriction over there on that your left side of the screen, but nothing major out there right now. Let's take a look at the map. We have a project that's continuing through July 29th. Southbound I-65 closed between I-865 and I-465 up on that northwest side, the Dog Leg. So to get around it, you're going to take 865 westbound down to 465 southbound, and that'll get you where you need to go, whether it be back to I-65 southbound or if you're going to continue on I-465. So just keep that in mind. This will continue again for another 2 weeks from today. So this does add some extra time to your drive. So might want to leave earlier than you typically would if it is part of your drive. One last look at the roads now. I-465 at Harding Street down on the south side. Traffic's flowing along just fine. Your morning drive's looking pretty great if you're heading out the door right now.
Elena, thank you. It was all Simon Pagenaud on the streets of Toronto on Sunday. The Indy 500 champion picked up a crucial win as he makes a run for the points championship. Pagenaud was dominant. He led 80 of the race's 85 laps before taking the checkered flag. Scott Dixon was second, followed by Alexander Rossi. Rossi is now just 4 points behind the series point leader, Joseph Newgarden, while Pagenaud is in third in the points standings. The IndyCar drivers are in Iowa next weekend.
The Indianapolis Indians may have some extra fans in the stands the next few nights. It's because the Syracuse Mets are in town, and it's mainly because of one of Syracuse's outfielders. Tim Tebow has had a rough season in AAA ball this year, but the former NFL quarterback is still popular and draws a crowd wherever he goes. Tebow and the Mets will be at Victory Field for a 4-game series with the Indians starting tonight at 7:05.
Well, get your Morpheus voices ready because this baseball player might be Neil himself. The incredible moves this San Diego Padre made simply to avoid attack.
Oh, I would have dislocated my knee there. And coming up all new at 5, the city working to tear down numerous rundown homes. We'll have a live report on the purpose of that work, plus a new round of demolitions about to get underway. It's 4:51.
I'm Vinny Politan. Today on Court TV, we are in a verdict watch. That means a verdict can happen at any moment. It's a jury in Cobb County, Georgia, that must decide if a caregiver is guilty of the murder of one of the residents of the assisted living facility that he was working at. So we're on a verdict watch at any moment. When that verdict comes in, you'll see it and hear it live right here on Court TV.
And don't forget, you can catch all of the new Court TV live right on your mobile device by visiting CourtTV.com. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Weather than anyone else.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Time now 4:55. Your traffic's looking pretty good right now up on the north side. 465 Keystone Avenue. If you're heading out the door, should be an easy drive.
Elena, thank you. If you played baseball or softball when you're growing up, your coach probably used to encourage you to swing the bat by telling you you can't steal first base.
Well, that's not true anymore. The Independent Atlantic League is trying out a new rule that lets a batter try to run to first base anytime a pitch gets past the catcher. Saturday night, Tony Thomas of the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs was at the plate when a pitch got away from the catcher for the Lancaster Barnstormers. It took him a second to remember the new rule, but Thomas took off for first and made it safely for the steal of first base, the first steal of first base in baseball history.
A lot of firsts there.
Way to go, Tony Thomas.
Well, one more from baseball here. Fernando Tatis Jr. must have watched The Matrix recently. Look at this. Saturday, he was picked off first base against the Atlanta Braves. Got into a rundown, but watch this. He somehow avoids the tag of the Braves pitcher and was safe at first base. Watch it in slow motion.
Unbelievable.
Look at his body there. Slide around the pitcher's glove. The pitcher wasn't even close. I don't know how they do it. They have a lot of body control to do things like that without
like I
wiping out.
said before we went to commercial break, I would have dislocated my knee
Yeah.
pulling that move. So
Crazy.
All right, way to go. All right, Todd, how are we looking sliding into this week's forecast?
You know, there's a lot going on this week. We have to deal with the heat. We have to deal with the remnants of Barry, and then extreme heat and humidity as we get towards the end of the week. So today, 91, just a spot storm or two possible this afternoon and this evening. Numerous storms Tuesday and Wednesday with those tropical downpours. Some of the storms also could be strong to maybe severe over the course of Tuesday and Wednesday as well. And then once Barry moves out, the heat is on. 94 Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with high humidity as well. The time now is 4:57. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on RTV6. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a few minutes.